proceedings, and like 11 of the 11 senators, right, supporting his attempted coup to overthrow the government. Like, you can't call yourself like anti-American, right, and then be pro-Trump and affirm that he did these things. That just those qualities, right, can't align with one another.
Okay, that's your opinion.
Can you tell me how they can align with one another? Can you make an argument that Trump isn't a threat to democracy, even though he tried to rig the outcome of the 2020 election?
Because I think he fully believes in our constitutional rights.
Whoa, he
100% he believes in our constitutional rights.
He literally said he doesn't like the Constitution. He wants to put it on pause. He's actively campaigning, right, on being anti-constitutional.
What is the reason why Mike Pence? Wait, what is the reason why Mike Pence doesn't like Trump?
For the reason y'all just stated a few minutes ago.
It is the case that he puts himself over the Constitution. That's literally the reason Mike Pence doesn't like Trump. Also, I think it's ironic that huge staffers of Trump, like chief of staff, of like people who were very close to him in terms of his like administration, all those people, they come out against him, right? I really wonder why there's so many people in his administration that don't like him now. Has that happened with Biden or Harris or?
I'm sure it has.
Or Obama?
Look, Andy, but I'm sure it has. I can't name any off the top of my head. I'm sure it has.
You just have to assume something to be true to cope. Unfortunate. Also, you said that Trump is pro-Constitution, right? He's literally, like, his platform is anti-constitutional. He wants to put people in jail for a year for burning the American flag, right? That was ruled in 1986 that that's constitutionally protected under the First Amendment right to freedom of expression, right? Also, right, the Constitution implies checks and balances. He wanted to throw the checks and balances provided from our federal government out the window with his denial and attempted coup against the outcomes of the 2020 election, right? He actively, right, campaigns on the fact that he doesn't really like the Constitution, and in fact, he wants to put it on pause to examine the results of elections. He thinks he should have the power to do that, right? Obviously,
I've never heard him say that.
Yeah, we could reference, like, 2020.
Jennifer, thank you for the $25 on Venmo. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Can we get some Jennifers in that comment section right now? Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yeah, he tweeted out on Truth Social. He said he didn't really like the Constitution and he wants to put it on pause to examine the results of the election.
No, okay, so you're talking about something that happened 4 years ago.
I sure am.
Why are you
Glinda, thank you for the $25 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's for Glinda and Jennifer in the comment section. Thank you so much, Glinda, for the $25 on PayPal. That's so kind of you.
Why do you focus so much in the past?
People in the comment section saying they were fake donations. Because they're like they're the same names.
And Political, you said, you particularly said, why am I looking at his past actions? It's because past actions are predictive of future behaviors, right? So obviously we're going to examine what he did over the course of his... No, people can change. However, past behaviors are predictive of future behaviors, right? Like, he literally campaigned last time on his denial of the outcome of the 2020 election, or the attempted coup that he tried to stage against our federal government because he didn't accept the results of said election, right? And we could look at his behaviors right now, right, getting people, right, these MAGA loyalists, right, on his campaign team, such as J.D. Vance, saying that he would have contested the results of the 2020 election, he would have not certified the results, and he would have, right, made Trump the illegitimate president of the United States of America, right? It's about the fact, well, if he was able to stress test it last time, well, I mean, what's going to prevent him from doing it again in the future? What's going to prevent him from completely, right, achieving a successful coup against our government right now?
Won't let him.
Absolutely nothing prevents him. Dean is totally right.
Right, and you understand, right, the Constitution isn't what limited Trump from having a successful coup last time. In fact, no system in our government limited Trump. It was one man, that one man being Mike Pence, right?
Okay, but again, are you thinking he's going to get in office and stay in office forever? Is that what you're scared of?
No, I don't think I'd make the argument that he'd try to contest the 22nd Amendment. Right? I just don't see what would prevent him from, like, let's say, electing his son. What if he does the same thing with his son? I mean, how do you feel about that? Is that like a democracy? If Trump were to make, like, his son, like Don Jr., the president of the United States, by having Congress certify false votes for him?
I mean,
is that democratic?
I guess it could happen. I'm
asking you if that's democratic.
To certify that to make him president? No, that's not democratic.
Oh, well, if it's not democratic, right, to certify his son to be the next president of the United States through fake votes in Congress, why was it democratic when he tried to get himself certified as a president through fake votes in Congress?
Okay, well, you're going down the line of a quote that I like to use from The Simpsons calls it, if and buts was candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas in July. You can give me all the if and buts you want. Give me some facts.
Bro, I literally just, this is a logical implication of your stance. If it would be anti-democratic for him to make his son the illegitimate of president of the United States of America through the certification of fake votes in Congress, why was it not anti-democratic when he tried to do that same exact thing for himself?
Because he thought that the election was rigged for Biden to win.
Okay, yeah, if I fucking think that, you, I don't know, murdered my mom and you're an innocent man and I walked up to you and blew your fucking head off, did I do anything wrong?
Well, yeah.
Because you didn't murder my mom, just like the election wasn't stolen from him, right? Then also, there's going to be no ideological, distinction here. Maybe we could say that he thought his son rightfully won, right, the next election, right? In one scenario, you'd say it's anti-democratic, and the other scenario, you won it. You don't have any good reason to assume that.
But you don't have any proof that he's going to do that. You're basing your feelings off of this proof that he may do something.
Bro, yeah, I'm not a fucking crystal ball, right? It's not about, right, having 100% certainty in the fact that this is exactly what's going to happen. It's the fact that it has happened in the past. Past behaviors are predictive of future ones, right? And he's already stress tested our democracy enough. Why do you think he should have the right to stress test it again?
Again, because I feel like he's the best candidate for us. I don't think Kamala's the best candidate for us.
Right, tell me
what has Kamala done to help
name
us?
one thing that Kamala Harris has done worse in her 4 years in power than trying to.
I'll be back in an hour, man. I'll see you in a second, man.
All right, bet. See you, Parker. Thanks for coming.
One thing she's done worse?
Yeah, name one thing that Kamala Harris has done worse than literally trying to rig an election.
Well, what about Pat? What about being the tie-breaking vote for the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022? Where it says it allows the IRS to track employers' tips.
Oh my God, you're so fucking.
Trying to run on.
The IRS has always tracked people's tips, right? There was nothing explicitly stated.
They haven't.
Yes, they have.
They track the employers, not the employees. They want to track employees now.
The Inflation Reduction Act never specifically uses the word gratuity. Tips never talks about service workers or tips. All that the Inflation Reduction Act did was it delegated an additional $80 billion in funding for more audits to be done by the IRS. If you were economically literate at all, you know that taxation reduces inflation by taking money out of the economy. So giving the IRS more funding to be more critical about the taxes that people are paying will literally end up reducing inflation. That's one of the things that the Inflation Reduction Act did, okay? Right? And this is supposed to be worse than staging a coup to overthrow the government? Hello?
She wants to not tax tips, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
So first of all, you were wrong about the Inflation Reduction Act. You didn't know what it entailed. You were wrong about tips not being taxed. You didn't know that that's always been done.
That's actually
even if you are right about all these things, right? How is this worse than staging a coup to overthrow the government?
Well, how about this?
No. Answer my question. I asked you to name something. No. I asked you to name something that Harris has done that was worse than trying to stage a coup to overthrow a government and rig an election. Then you made some bullshit, made up shit about the Inflation Reduction Act. I explained to you. It's literally not. Go ahead and source that.
That is.
Give me a source.
I've read the Inflation Reduction Act.
I have too. I literally have too. You're wrong. Give me a source.
Dude, I'm sitting in my car on the side of the road. Do you think I can give you a source right now?
You want to be able to give me a source if you were sitting in front of a damn computer because the shit that you're spewing out of your mouth is false.
Bullshit, I wouldn't.
Oh, so now your argument is I could hypothetically give you a source? Dude, come on. Give me a fucking break, okay?
Well, what about her wanting to re-overturn Roe versus Wade? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel awesome, right?
You feel
about
awesome?
All 170 million American women and girls having federally protected access to healthcare. Phenomenal.
How's that healthcare?
How's it healthcare? Well, I mean, how is a medical procedure that is done for the well-being of the mother, either electively or through necessity because her life is at risk? Healthcare, get a fucking grip. But I have a question. Do you agree with Roe v. Wade being rescinded and that going back to the state?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you think that murder should be left up to the state?
I don't think that any innocent baby should be unalived.
Wait, but you think abortion's murder, yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and you agree with Roe v. Wade going back to the state, yeah?
I agree there shouldn't be any kind of law as far as that's concerned, state or federal.
Wait, so you think that murder should be legislated on by the state, should be left up to the state?
I'm saying murder shouldn't be allowed in general.
Wait, does Trump support a federal ban on abortion?
He doesn't want Roe versus Wade to be enacted.
I'm so sorry.
He doesn't want abortion rights.
Okay, does Trump support a federal ban on abortion?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, he's literally like campaigned and platformed himself as not supporting that.
Sorry, I heard that wrong. Yes, he does not support. He does not want abortion to be legal. He wants it to go back to the states.
Right, so the state can determine the legality on it. So
Yes.
why do you think that states should determine the legality of murder?
I just said I don't think states should have that ability either, because I think murder is wrong in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, so you don't think that abortion laws should be left up to the state?
I don't think abortion laws should be written anywhere.
So you think that abortion should be legal?
No, it should not be legal. Absolutely not.
Well, in order to make it illegal, you have to write that into law.
Well, that's fine. Write it into law that you can't have an abortion.
Like, okay, so, bro, I'm so fucking confused. I don't know how you're not following this, right? Trump doesn't support, right, making a murder federally illegal. Trump wants to leave murder up to the state. So why do you support someone that wants to leave murder up to the state?
Because I don't think the federal government has the ability to say what should and shouldn't happen.
Wait, so this is literally the argument.
Versus Wade, period.
This was literally the argument of the Confederacy, right? So what's the difference between the Confederacy saying the right to enslave should be left up to the state and you saying the right to murder should be left up to the state?
So you want to forego the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution? Is that what you're saying?
What does the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution state?
It gives slaves, it freed the slaves.
Bro,
And
I'm literally
14th
saying the argument of...
It gave them other rights.
Dude, the argument of the Confederacy was that the right to own slaves should be left up to the state. The argument that you're making right now is that the right to murder should be left up to the state. What's the difference between you and the Confederacy, logically
I
speaking?
didn't say that. I said it shouldn't be in any state or federal law. Murder.
I'm so fucking confused on what you're saying right now, bro. Right? So all that I'm detailing to you right now, right, is that when Roe v. Wade was overturned, right, this passed the legislative ability back down to the state. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Okay, buddy, I'm just going to move on to the next guest. You don't really seem to have enough brain cells to just track a basic conversation. If you guys do want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal, they are in the bio. We're going to move on to our next guest. They were just literally too confused to track it all. Literally zero following ability. Revy, what's up? How old are you?
23.
Are you voting for Trump?
Yeah.
And why is that?
Just better candidate.
Okay, so why is the rapist, the fraudster, the felon, the election denier better than, like, the intelligent woman who wants to protect and preserve our democracy and fight for the freedoms of all?
All right, real quick, before I answer that, I was going to say, just what he was saying, you're saying that Trump rigged for votes, right?
Yeah.
All right, so didn't Kamala Harris do the same thing when they kicked Joe Biden out because he was too incompetent? And she got no votes.
First of all, they didn't kick Joe Biden out. Joe Biden, right, dropped out of the race on his own accord. Second of all, right, Joe Biden has publicly spoken about how no one influenced him to make that decision apart from himself. Third of all, right, a private political party, that being the DNC, is different from the government. It's privately owned. Third of all, you have the right to vote for whoever you want come November. Doesn't need to be Harris. Doesn't even need to be Trump. You could write whoever you want in on the line.
Yeah, they could say, Joe Biden could say he had no influence on being kicked out. That's like me telling someone to go jump off a bridge, and then, like, they're not going to remember. Obviously, Joe Biden's dementia, cool, doesn't know how to speak. But,
Okay, so give me any evidence that Joe Biden actually was kicked out and influenced get kicked out by others.
It was right after
just
the
simply
debate.
doesn't remember it because he has dementia. Do you understand that that's just like make-believe? Like, are we just like conceiving of thoughts in our head and treating them as if they're fact?
So you're going to tell me someone that gets on live TV once in a blue moon because he can't speak, when he gets up there, starts, I don't even know what the fuck he says. No one does. And you guys voted for that for president.
Oh, so you want to talk about Joe Biden or like Kamala Harris and Trump? Because it seems like I asked you why you're voting for Trump over Harris, right? And then I make it explicitly clear why Harris is better, right? Rapist, felon, fraudster, election denying, like narcissist, delusional liar over the lady who wants to protect and preserve our democracy, wants to fight for the freedoms of all, right? And then you automatically pivot back to Biden. I swear to God, conservatives are kind of like broken repeaters. You don't know what to do now that there's someone in the race that is legitimately better than Trump.
No, I'm just going from start to end. So I'm going to go start to end. But then again, you're saying for all American lives, right? So you're telling me everyone that crosses the border is an American?
To be an American, I would say that you either have to be like a resident or a citizen.
Okay. So all the
in
people that
America
Kamala
as an
Harris
American,
elected
like,
and
to a
failed
certain
as
extent.
the borders are.
So what authority did Harris have over the southern border?
See, this is where the incompetence come from, bro. This is why you can't.
Your incompetence. I'm the one asking you a crystal clear question. You're the one that can't answer. Are you projecting? Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. I guess he's gonna go ahead and leave. We're gonna go to get our next guest up in here, y'all. Everybody, just give us a minute. Don't know what he's doing. He just kind of went on pause. Maybe he's searching it up. I don't know. Okay, no, he actually just ran away. We're going to go to get our next guest, Raven, up in here, y'all. Everybody just give us a minute. If you want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal, my Cash App, all in the bio. You guys already know it. What's up, Raven? How old are you? All right, Raven's not here. Guys, if you're MAGA, let me know in that chat right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know in that chat. We're going to go to get our next guest up in the box literally right now, guys. Nathaniel, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal, for the love, for the support, Nathaniel. I really appreciate that. And Shayla, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for the love, Shayla. And then Scott with the $5 on Venmo saying Free Palestine all the way, Scott. Thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate that. And Henry with the $5 on PayPal as well. Thank you, Henry. TC, are you voting for Trump?
Yes, I am voting for Trump, but I also would like to contribute with some education. Many Americans, such as yourself, I am almost 99% sure that do not speak Spanish and do not read Spanish. You all need to Google the relationship between CITGO, CITGO, which is Petróleo de Venezuela, and Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, Russia, and China, Smartmatic, Sequoia, Dominion, and Votem. For that, you will have to know how to read Spanish and read the book Chavistas en el Imperio. It explains how Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez created a voting system out of bank auditing back in 1999. I am from Venezuela, so I know, and I speak and read very good Spanish, and I am 61 years old.
That's not really relevant to our conversation, though. So
it is relevant because voting is fake. And you guys are talking all about voting, and you do not understand that Smartmatic, Sequoia, Dominion are owned by the Venezuelan Marxist government.
Okay, so first of all, no, Dominion is not owned by the Venezuelan government. That is false. Dominion is private.
Prove it that is not.
Sure, I got you, Diane. Diane, I really appreciate you for the $10 on PayPal. Thank you so much for the love, Diane. Let's get some W's for Diane in the chat. I got you. In the meantime, guys, make sure that we're double tapping. All right, moving on to our next guest here, y'all. Everybody just give us a minute. All right, we're gonna, so let's go ahead and see. So their headquarters is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and Denver, Colorado. And they were founded, in Denver, Colorado. Phenomenal. And they're owned not by the Venezuelan government. They're owned by two guys by the name of John and James. Phenomenal. Oh, she ran. Damn it. Oh, fuck. I didn't even see her. Run. Okay, we're going to move on to our next guest, guys. Let's go to get our next guest up in the box literally right now. Everybody just do give us a minute. I'm so sad that she ran. Why the fuck would she do that? Who knows? We're going to move on to our next guest for the 5.7 thousand people in here. Welcome in. What's up, Eric? How old are you?
46.
You voting for Trump?
Yes, I am.
Okay, why so?
Of the last 16 years, the three best years of my 401k was 2017, 2018, and 2019.
So your 401k.
I do believe he's a...
your 401k is literally doing better right now than it ever has been. We're currently at all-time highs in the stock market as we speak.
Well, mine isn't, so I believe what I see.
You're literally okay. Listen, okay.
I do believe Trump's a narcissist.
Eric, 1 second. Did you set up your 401k, or are you investing through a firm?
I Investing through a firm. I'm a mailman.
Okay, through the U.S. Sure. Your 401k is doing better than it ever has been. I can confirm that. And I would say maybe if you picked your stocks for your 401k, there may be some user error issue there, but no. That would be your fault. Anyways, so Eric, why are you voting for Trump?
I respect the sarcasm. So many reasons. I'm just not. I don't like that criminals aren't, charged with crime.
Oh, wait, you don't like that criminals are charged with crimes, so you want to vote for the criminal?
I don't really mind clerical errors like smash and grabs in LA and stuff like that. I mean, you do realize you share the political ideology with those people.
You literally just said that you don't like that criminals aren't charged with crimes, so you want to vote for the criminal who is literally who is currently arguing that he should be immune from criminal proceedings specifically because of his presidency. Like, he wants to be president again so he can be immune from more criminal proceedings, plant more people in the DOD so he could scapegoat accountability, and not get charged with crimes. That is so fucking funny. Betsy, thank you for the $10 on Venmo saying Happy Jubilee. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get some W's for Betsy down below in the chat. Thank you so much.
I think context is important, and I don't mind clerical errors as much as like murder and stuff like that.
What the fuck, dude? I'm sorry, dude. Does anyone understand what he's saying? What are you saying?
Literally, if criminals weren't charged with crimes, I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah. Well, if you want criminals to be charged with crimes, maybe you should vote for the prosecutor, Kamala Harris, over Trump, the criminal who literally wants to pardon other criminals that were convicted of assaulting police officers on January 6th.
So when you see like 40 people run into an Apple store, smash and grab and do that stuff, you think that's equal to what Trump did?
I don't think that's equal to what Trump did. I think it's significantly not as bad.
Well, I'll be very clear. This is just basically what it comes down to. I think Trump's a narcissist, but I think a president's personality is irrelevant. Like, if you were deciding if you were going to go to Applebee's or Chili's tonight, would you think about what the CEO's personality is? I vote on productivity over likability.
I'd say that like personalities can be incredibly relevant with how they impact like America, right? Like, I don't think we should be putting a grapist in the Oval Office predominantly because I want grapists to be held accountable, and secondarily because of how that would impact the progression of grape culture in America. Like, we're supposed to like socially stigmatize grapists. We're supposed to scrutinize them. We're supposed to say you have less opportunity than you did before you graped someone to further prevent people from graping people, right? But then when you take a grapist, right, and then you promote like social ideologies to just outright deny that he's a grapist and blame the victim, and then say that they should have access to like the highest rank of power available in the world currently. Well, I mean, like, maybe this will like further only progress grape culture, systemic misogyny, and like, you know, a social attack on women, right? And like other attributes of his personality, such as not being like an honest guy, telling over 30,000 confirmed lies during his presidency. I think a massive job of anybody that is publicly elected into a position of power is to be honest and virtuous with their constituents, right? Because if like the electors are not making well-informed decisions about who they're electing because they're so dishonest and lie to them, well, that is inherently anti-democratic within itself, right? That is like the Achilles heel of a democracy, 110%, is just convincing the masses that things that are lies are true, therefore giving them like a false sense of good reason to vote for them.
I do agree with a lot of that. I think I'll say one last thing, because I'm sure you got other people that want to get on, is I think you're a smart kid and you say a lot of good things, but I will predict like in 20 to 30 years you'll realize you were wrong. And that's just, I could be right, I could be wrong, but that's just my prediction. So have a good day, man. I like what you're doing.
Yeah, in 20 to 30 years, I'm going to look back at clips of me absolutely dunking on people 20 to 30 years older than me. I'm going to be like, damn straight. Damn fucking straight. I appreciate you for coming up there, Eric. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next guest. Let's go ahead and see who my next guest is, y'all. What's going on, Law? How are you?
Doing all right, thank you. Guys, we are only at 600,000 likes. There are 6,000 people in this room. What we need to do right now is every one of you, even if you hate Parker, why did I call you Parker? Parker was up earlier. If you hate Dean, just smash his face 80 times. If you love Dean, put those little hearts above his head 80 times. Let's get up to 1 million. We can do this in the next 30 seconds if each of you just fill up that bar one time. Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah, dude. W's for Law. Best co-host. Matthew, are you voting for Trump?
Yeah.
All right. Why the hell would you do that?
Well, I mean, being an American citizen, I get an opportunity to see what's going on in front of me, and I'm very in with the community that I have grown up in, and it's just some of those things that I don't agree with on both parties, but, you know, there's got to be some kind of change, and therefore...
Sorry, guys, that was just gibberish. I made the executive decision to move on to the next guest. Sometimes when it's too gibberish to the point where I just can't really track it, we unfortunately just move on. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm so incredibly sorry. Misty, what's up? Are you voting for Trump? Misty, you're on the live. What's up? Are you voting for Trump? Okay, all right, moving on to our next guest. Guys, if you are MAGA, let me know in the chat. We're going to go to get our next guest, Atlas, up here right now. Hope, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo from the DNC. W for the DNC. And Roberto, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo for the future Antichrist Dean. W's for Hope and Roberto. Thank you guys very much. Atlas, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 20.
You voting for Trump?
Absolutely.
Then take that fucking American flag out of your profile picture. You don't stand for America. This man tried to rig an election. Why the hell would you vote for someone that tried to stage a coup against the country that you care so much about?
How did he try to stage a coup?
By telling his VP not to, really care about the American voters' opinions and just make...
And that was a recommendation, and Mike Pence chose not to do it.
Yeah, if Mike Pence had chose to follow Trump's recommendation and the fraudulent certificates of ascertainment submitted to Congress by Trump, what would have happened? Your voice wouldn't have mattered. Our civil electoral process...
Well, it wasn't. The Constitution prevents that, as you can see. If the vice president's not allowed to do it, he can't do it. It doesn't matter what Trump thinks about it.
So, actually, the fringe legal theory was developed to basically achieve this. What they wanted to do, they wanted to send the fake certificates of ascertainment to college. They wanted Mike Pence to plead ignorance. They wanted Mike Pence to say he doesn't know what the real votes are, he doesn't know what the fake votes are. So then it would have been kicked to Congress. And because Congress was predominantly Republican, they would have certified Trump as the president of the United States of America, successfully circumventing around our civil electoral processes.
Mm-hmm. If there's a issue with the Electoral College, yeah. And then the tie-breaking vote, if there's an issue with the Senate, would be Mike Pence, of course. So, yeah. But it didn't happen, very clearly. And I think a lot of his statements that were made on January 6th were taken largely out of context. Liberals protest all the time when anything happens. They storm state capitals for abortion rights or to protest for Gaza or Free Palestine or any of these other movements. And, there are never any arrests for them, never any media coverage or anything like that. It's just very biased and one-sided. It's not that I'm all for Trump here. It's just that one side is getting treated very differently than the other. And I think that is what leads to dictatorships, is when you have a consensus of people who are misinformed or really are victims of propaganda, most likely.
That's fucking ass. Yeah, dead ass. No, you're absolutely right. 100%. Right. This is going to be one of the key tenets of anti-democratic behaviors, and this is why it's so important not to vote for Trump. Do you want to talk about the MAGA voter base being a victim of legitimate propaganda and misinformation? Let's talk about the 30,000 confirmed lies that Trump told during his presidency. Let's talk about the largest lie that any sitting U.S. president has ever told with Trump's denial of the outcome of the 2020 election, and how he has incessantly told that over the course of the last 4 years, convincing 70% of Republicans that he won that shit. Let's talk about it, because if we listen to Atlas here, if we trust Atlas when he says that propaganda and misinformation is anti-democratic and it is indicative of a dictator by nature, well, you just told on Trump.
No, because all of the major media outlets here in the United States constantly talk about Trump 24/7. If he was such a big problem, if all these media outlets stopped printing things about him 24/7, whether it's bad or good.
What's the biggest media outlet in the world? What's the biggest media outlet in the world right now?
I'm not entirely sure what the biggest one is.
X. And you know what X has? A predominantly right-leaning bias with a founder that is an incessant support of Trump. And I just think it's funny. Like, you try to look at like mainstream media outlets such as like I don't know, CNN and MSNBC, ABC, and say, oh, they just all preach the same narrative. They're just spreading propaganda and gaslighting the masses with its pro-democratic propaganda. But what happens when you look at the alternative media sources? You see the same shit, the same rhetoric repeated day after day after day. Like shit like Russia has a right to invade Ukraine, Trump won 2020, and all this other propaganda and misinformation being perpetuated by these alternative media outlets, right? Spreading like worse propaganda onto the Republican voter base.
Yeah, well, I follow Newsmax personally myself. I've never seen a headline like that.
Shannon, thank you for the $2 on PayPal. I really appreciate you for that love. I thank you so much.
Yeah, I've never, like I said, I follow Newsmax predominantly. I used to watch Fox and CNN, but I recently quit watching both of those, and I only do Newsmax. I've never seen a headline quite like that. Now, I've noticed.
Colin, thank you for the $9 on Venmo. Thank you for showing the ignorant MAGAs the truth. Of course, Colin, I appreciate you for that.
Organizations like Breitbart are few and far between that do have right-leaning biases. And will stretch truths, but I don't, the ones that stretch the truth for the left, there are just so many more, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Dude, the biggest lie ever told by a sitting president was Trump's denial of the outcome of the 2020 election. That was single-handedly the biggest piece of propaganda ever told by any politically affiliated organization. It just so happened that this time it was the president, and it just so happened that you're voting for that guy again. You have no moral high ground to stand on. You have no justification for your claim that you're scared of the Democrats because they perpetuate propaganda when you turn around and you're voting for the man that read Mein Kampf and took lessons from it, okay? Right? Like, there's no justification here, sir.
I don't know nothing about him reading Mein Kampf, but
big lie propaganda. This shit, right, that he spewed out of his mouth since 2020 with the denial of the 2020 election, big lie propaganda, as defined in the Mein Kampf. Crazy shit, huh?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know nothing about that clip. If he did, that's on him. But then again, you also have to ask yourself the question, in the United States, you can have the opinion, you can question the election, and I understand that it's dangerous, the fact that he is the president. And
did Trump question it, or did Trump deny it?
Well, he started questioning it, but then when they all started suppressing him and everybody attacked him for it, he began to deny it because... No,
literally, November 9th was the first time, right, he denied the outcomes of the election of 2020. November 9th, he went on Fox News and said all votes for Biden are illegal. If you counted the legal ones, I'd win. He denied it from the beginning. He tried to stage a coup to overturn the results within our Congress by telling Mike...
Now, how did he try to stage a coup?
By sending slates of electorates to 7 different states to cast fake votes into Congress, all right? And then he turns around, right? He even had this, like, pre-scripted, right? Like, we have audio clips from him on, like, October 9th, October 31st of him telling his chief of staff and his chief strategist that he was going to call the election on the night of the election, say he won even if he was behind because he knew the mail-in ballots that would be counted in the days to follow were democratically favored, right? Do you understand, right, that an argument born out of the idea that the left spreads propaganda, therefore I'm voting for the right, makes no sense when it's Trump?
Well, that's not the only argument. I mean, there's a lot of them, and I understand Trump's not perfect, and he can stretch truth a lot. I mean, he's a TV personality, and in fact, I'd say he's largely president off of how funny and the way he talks, But his policies are really good, too. The main particular reason I'm voting for Trump is his foreign policy. What the left is doing here is they're going out and they're provoking every country. They're provoking Russia, and what they're really doing is bowing down to China. They'll let China come over here and buy up farmland in the United States, right? And they've passed this purchasing power.
Did Biden and Harris's administration keep Trump's tariffs on China, or did they disregard them?
I believe they disregarded them, but I'm not for sure.
No, they kept them. And if we want to talk about bowing down to foreign entities that are of danger, let's talk about Trump bowing down to Russia. We have leaked Kremlin documents.
Well, can we just talk about that for a second? You asked me, did they keep Trump's tariffs on China or did they get rid of them? You said they didn't. Do you know why? Because that was a good idea.
I actually disagree. I disagree with the Biden-Harris administration and the Trump administration there. I think that tariffs are bad. But if we want to talk about bowing down to foreign adversaries, let's talk about how Trump literally believed Putin over U.S. intelligence in Helsinki.
Well, there's a huge rivalry going on here between Trump and these people. If I was him, I wouldn't trust him either. But as the president, you have to have some faith in your institutions.
Wait! You're gonna trust Putin, right? This tyrannical dictator that has killed political adversaries and has launched attacks on human rights over U.S. intelligence.
100%. And Putin is not a good man, and Russia is not a good country. They do bad things, right?
I mean, we literally have Trump on tape calling
is
Putin a great guy. Same with Jeffrey Epstein.
Your government has done equally as horrible things for virtually the same reasons. I mean,
Name a Democrat who has sent fake votes and certificates of ascertainment into college to be counted as real to disregard
a very specific request.
That is the worst. That is the worst thing that Trump has ever done in his life.
Senator Menendez has taken foreign bribes from Egypt, right, in gold bars because the currency's so worthless he won't even take it in dollars, right? So there's that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's not fucking rigging an election bad.
He's getting bribes from a foreign country, and he is a U.S. senator who's a Democrat.
Yeah,
he's taking it in gold bars,
but that is not
so
as bad
under the Biden-Harris administration.
Do you think that's as bad as trying to circumvent our civil electoral processes? Not to mention, we kicked him out.
Well, we just disagree on what he was trying to do on January. So I don't think he tried to circumvent it. I think he brought up legitimate concerns. Now, the way he went about it,
Wait. So you think that telling his VP to disregard votes from American people and to certify as fake votes, that's not circumventing our electoral and civil processes?
I mean, it's a wild statement for sure, but I can't really say much about that. That is a questionable statement, but I don't think it's necessarily trying to circumvent the system.
It's by definition trying to circumvent the system. It's literally by definition trying to circumvent the system. And I mean, his lawyers are arguing this, right? They're saying that the reason he tried to circumvent the system was because the system was corrupt, right? So his own lawyers are arguing that he tried to circumvent the system.
Well, his cases are on hold. We'll see. He's been convicted of 30 felonies so far. Well, the Supreme Court's ruled on some presidential immunities. All his cases aren't over, and as it stands right now, he's a free man, and he doesn't have a sentencing right now. So
34 felonies, not 30. And I just gave you his argument, right? We don't even need a ruling on the case for January 6th to know who we should vote for in this context.
Well,
his argument is that he did try to circumvent our civil and electoral processes. He did violate federal law, but he had good reason to do so, and he should be immune from it as it was an official act of his presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Would you vote for someone that was held civilly liable for the sexual abuse of a woman?
Are you talking about Eugene Carroll?
Carroll, yeah. So would you vote for someone that's held civilly liable for these actions?
Well, he wasn't convicted. It was a settlement. He ended up paying her. So that doesn't mean he was necessarily...
They actually didn't reach it. They didn't reach a settlement, no.
Well, he did end up paying her some money.
Yeah, not through settlement. So would you or would you not vote for someone that's held civilly liable for the rape of a woman?
No, but Trump, I would, yes.
Okay, so if you want to vote for someone that's held civilly liable for the sexual abuse of a woman,
because that very specific scenario, I don't think he did it. I have very different views on these events.
Okay, why's that?
Well, simply because the media has just attacked him so relentlessly, and the Russia hoax from 2016 was proven false, right? They said he colluded with the Russians in the Dominion voting systems in 2018 or in 2016. It was proven he didn't, right? And then
Russian interference with the outcome of the 2016 was proven. In fact, there's even collusion proven with his Mueller report for sure. There's even specific collusion proven with Rudy Giuliani, Trump's personal lawyer. However, right, they couldn't find sufficient evidence to say that Trump had colluded with Russia. But super apart from the point, right? Why do you not believe the findings, right, of the civil court that held him accountable for rape?
Well, where was this trial held again?
New York.
New York. That would be why.
Okay, so if Trump was criminally convicted of raping a little girl in a New York court, would you still vote for him?
That's a different scenario that hasn't happened yet.
Wait, you said that you contest the findings of the civil court because it was held in New York. So if he was criminally convicted for child rape in a criminal court in New York, you still wouldn't believe it because he was held in New York, right?
Well, child's a different story. I don't think a child has a reason to lie or could necessarily be bribed as easily. I mean,
Wait, so you're saying that E. Jean Carroll had reason to lie because he was in New York?
no reason
Now
to
you're
lie.
sounding incoherent. Rebecca, thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. I really appreciate you for the love. I want to see at least 500 W's for Rebecca in that chat right now for the $50 on Venmo, saying thank you for your patience in educating the MAGA cultists from Danielle. Oh, from Danielle. Thank you so much for the love, Danielle. I really appreciate you. W's for Danielle. So which one is it? Do you not believe, or do you contest the findings of the civil court because it was held in New York? Or do you contest the findings of the civil court because you think that E. Jean Carroll was a liar?
Are we talking about the Carroll's claims that she was rejected because the jurors found that she wasn't raped?
Okay, so real
this guy
quick,
came in strong.
Pennsylvania, would you agree with me that anything going into a woman's vagina without consent is considered rape?
Well, yes.
Crimes without consent? Yeah, it would be considered rape, but I mean, that's what I said. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that 100%. But like I said,
so the civil court held him liable for inserting his fingers into E. Jean Carroll's vagina without her consent, right? The only reason that he wasn't held liable for grape was because in this state of New York at the time, they only defined grape as a male member entering into the female member without consent.
Okay. But also, too, I mean, you're going into talking about, I mean, like Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, you're surrounded by, he's a multi-millionaire now that.
The fuck? Where did this come from?
I mean, you're going both ways on stuff. Like, it's hearsay. She said this at this time, but she could have been trying to get with him. No one knows besides what she said. That's what I said. There's two stories there.
Can you name one piece of evidence that she submitted to the court?
Can I name one piece of evidence? Her statement.
That would have been her testimony. So that was her witness testimony. What about evidence that she supplied?
Purdy, thank you for the 20 gifted subs. I really appreciate you for the love. Let's get at least 200 W's for Purdy in the chat. Thank you for the 20 gifted subs. That's so kind of you.
Far, just because I honestly.
So, how do you know all the evidence is quote unquote hearsay if you don't know any of the evidence?
Well, because the jury found him not guilty. So I mean, when
they did for sexual abuse. They held him liable. They found him quote unquote guilty for inserting his fingers into her vajayjay without her consent.
Forcefully.
I know, and then you see other women that go on TV.
Nathan, holy shit, Nathan, thank you so much for the $100 on Venmo. I want to see at least 1,000 W's for Nathan in that chat right now. That is an insane donation. That is absolutely so kind of you. I really appreciate you for the love there today, Nathan. Nathan says, keep up the good work, veteran for Harris from the DNC. Thank you.
To Biden's, like I said, daughter's diary about how she talked about she was like molested and raped.
Wait, what's that? You got to say grape on TikTok Live. So do you believe Ashley Biden's diary?
Did you? That was in. I mean, it was.
I'm very familiar with it. Just tell me. Do you believe those accusations?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, just from the stuff that he.
Can I ask you? Okay, so I'm asking you a question. So you're willing to accept, right, Ashley Biden's diary, right, sufficient evidence to say that Biden's a rapist, but then you actually specifically reject the findings of the civil court that held Trump accountable for grape, because the only evidence that exists, right, is testimony from the victim. So what's the difference between each
Once written down, you can't change. You can't hearsay. Say, like, if someone came up and touched me and I was like, oh yeah, I like that 20 years ago, and I turn around and say, oh, well, this dude got money, or this chick got money, so let me turn around and say, oh, I didn't like it, I didn't want it.
So Pennsylvania, there are submitted to the jury. Hold on. Submitted to the jury. Submitted to the court record, rather, the evidence that was permitted to be presented to the jury for the E. Jean Carroll case was doctor's notes from the 90s, contemporaneous with this occurrence with Trump, where E. Jean Carroll recounted her grape, in her words, with Donald Trump. That was written evidence, contemporaneous with the events, that was submitted to the court.
Okay, so so Pennsylvania. So your argument was because Ashley Biden wrote this down 20 years ago, it's sufficient evidence. So E. Jean Carroll's doctor wrote this down 20 years ago. 23.
Well, then, yeah, if she wrote it down and there's actual evidence of what she said and her testimony said to her doctor saying, which, I guess it's kind of hard because I guess without her permission with that, I know with